Chris Scalzi here with
Matt Howell.
And on this episode of The First Run, we're a little late, but we're finally catching up to the party. We checked out Mad Max Fury Road, a sequel that I don't think anybody saw coming. It's been 30 years, Matt. Has it been worth the wait? We're going to find out. We'll tell you what's coming up on Blu-ray and DVD this upcoming Tuesday, June 2nd. And we'll fill you in maybe on some of the stuff we missed, too, from last week since we're a little behind. And then we're going to do our 5 favorite movie chases. Could be in car, could be on foot, could be riding a horse or a lamb or a potbelly pig. Could be anything. Any kind of chase in a movie, we're going to talk about it, which I'm very excited about. And so let's start things off, I think, with a little bit of Fury Road. So, Matt.
Yes.
Mad Max Fury Road. It's been 30 years since Thunderdome. And I have to say something. When we first discussed this film coming out probably a month or so ago, maybe even longer, and I had kind of made I made a little jab at George Miller, the director of the film, because all the promotional stuff said visionary director George Miller. And I'm like, all right, visionary director. Yeah, he did a couple of Mad Max films. He did 2 Happy Feet movies. You know, he did the Babe Pig movies, but he did the sequel. You know, he hasn't done anything like hardcore like that since like Road Warrior, Road Warrior, I guess, really, right?
Yeah.
So I was skeptical. I was entirely skeptical. You know what? I owe George Miller an apology.
Yes, you do.
Visionary director, indeed. Now, I want to start. I haven't seen Mad Max in a long time. What I did is local electronics chain, The Wiz, had a big sale on the Mad Max Blu-ray.
Nice pull with The Wiz there.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And so they had the Scream Factory Special Edition Blu-ray for $12.99, and then they had the other 2, Road Warrior and Thunderdome, for $5 each. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna catch up. So I don't know if I've ever really seen the Road Warrior all the way through. Maybe I did, but it's been 30 years. And so I caught up. I watched all 3 in a weekend, and I got to tell you, those are all fantastic films. Even Thunderdome, even though it's like you said when we were talking about this off air, how it's kind of sanitized. That's what it is. It's an 80s sanitized version of Mad Max. Kind of how you envision the 80s getting a hold of like every single intellectual property. I think it did that with Mad Max as well. But yes, it's still an entertaining film. It still works.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely got some classics. I mean, you know, it is kind of over the top, but it is got some classic moments. I mean, that's where 2 men enter, 1 man leave. That's where that comes from. Exactly.
And I got to tell you, the fight choreography, at least the fight scene in Thunderdome with the elastic harness things, whatever the hell those things are, that was pretty cool. And I hadn't really seen that before. I think that was the first time that was ever really in a movie. And so I'm glad. So I got kind of a little more excited. Then I sat down to watch Mad Max Fury Road. Matt, a couple years ago, we said the bar had been raised in action films with the release of Brad Bird's Mission Impossible 4. Mm-hmm. Do you think the bar has been raised again? And you really are comfortable now saying George Miller is a visionary director? I mean, do action movies now have a new standard?
I think so. And I think what really set this one apart is it's all, for the most part, it's real stunt work. It's real practical effects. Those are real fireballs, and that's a real guitar shooting flamethrowers. That thing,
yes, it is.
The whole thing is just, you know, I really appreciate that they went and they actually built all those cars. They made sure that they worked. You know, yeah, it's insane, but it's like the best kind of insane. It's like the kind of stuff you were sitting around thinking about when you were 13 years old, saying, man, wouldn't it be cool if we saw this? Well, he got $150 million, and he put it up on screen, and we watched it. It was amazing.
And it is a success from start to finish. I love the fact that's a great point about the practical effects. There are a lot. And their special effects really only go to enhance the practical effects. I mean, everything he does in this film, I think, is he knocks it out of the park. It's basically one long car chase, and you were on the edge of your seat the entire time. Matt, I've seen this twice. I went to see it a second time at the movie theaters.
Nice.
I saw it the first time in 3D. And I got to tell you, this is one of the better uses of 3D I've ever seen. So kudos on that. But when I saw it at the local theater here, I felt like they have an issue with bulb power. So I felt it was too dark. So I wanted to see it again. So I saw it again at a nicer, more upscale theater. And I got to tell you, too, it was just as good. I even appreciated it more the second time. I think there are things in this film you have never seen before. And it is just fantastic, grab you by the throat from start to finish all the way through. And what's so great about it is that there's more to it than it just being a dumb action film. There's a lot more going on here. Each character, there are strong characters in this film, particularly the female leads. If you focus on Charlize Theron, she's fantastic in this film, and they have fully developed story arcs. They're not love interests for Tom Hardy's Max Rokitansky character. And I think that's one of the key things. Some people are chiding the film because they're saying, "Oh, this isn't even a Mad Max film," because he's like you could probably squeeze his dialogue onto 1 or 2 pages in the whole film. There's a lot of grunting for the first half hour, 45 minutes, and I think that's the key, because I think I have a fresh perspective by watching the first 3 films before walking into this. Outside of Mad Max,
right?
He's not really the core character of any of those other films.
Right. Yeah, he's like this legendary Outback character it's everybody's telling the story about him.
And exactly. And his character seems to just be the catalyst. He's the tool. He's the fulcrum. He's what allows for the forward momentum and all these other people's stories to happen. He's the one making things happen. And but he still has his own little arc. He has his own little chance for redemption. We do get a bit of a backstory on, not really backstory for Max. We don't really know where he's been for the last 20 years, or we don't even know what the time frame is.
Right.
Thunderdome either. And there's a theory about that I want to talk about too as we get into this a little more. But I got to tell you, the designs of the cars, I don't know what that falls under. Is that set design? I'm not sure, but I think there's going to be Oscar nominations for this film, at least technical ones.
Yeah, I definitely agree for the technical ones. I mean, you can't create the Doof Warrior and not at least get a technical nomination. And if you don't know, Doof Warrior is the greatest creation in the last 5 years, at least. He's the blind guitar flamethrower guy.
That's. I think I'm trying to figure out a way to work him into every film.
The Doof Warrior, yeah. And what's great, and I was reading about this.
How much better would the imitation game be? Benedict Cumberbatch, Keira Knightley, and then the Doof Warrior.
There you go. What's interesting though, and what I liked about it is I was reading up on this film, and one of the things that they said is that they were interviewing the guy who played the Doof Warrior, and they were talking about how he's got a name, he's got an entire backstory. You're never going to know what it is, but they had fleshed out every little piece of this because he'd been working on it for decades. That he knew like every little piece of this world and every character in the film, even if you never learned their name or really even saw them in close up.
Yeah, I love that fact. Just the attention to detail in this film, it will blow your mind. And if you really think about it, Matt, I can't believe this thing was even made.
Yeah, me neither.
It's been 20, 30 years since since Thunderdome. It wasn't like it was a massive blockbuster franchise in this country anyway. I mean, granted, never underestimate the greed of the studios to try and revive a franchise. But the fact that George Miller's name was still attached to it and they let him do it, he's 70 years old. I am shocked that this film was made, and right. I'm so happy it was. When you talk about action films, this for me, like Mission Impossible 4, this is one of the gold standards. This is when you're trying to look at what to do things and do it right and do it smart. It's intelligent, it's fun, it's entertaining. It'll knock you on your ass. It's one of the best films I've seen this year. It's fantastic. I can't rave enough about it. How successful this movie is.
Yeah, it blows my mind that this guy who hadn't made an adult action film in 30 years was given a budget of $150 million and said, just go out and do what you want. And they let him do that. That just does not happen. That's just insane to me. And my only concern is that Tom Hardy, he signed up for 3 more of these things. Obviously, if they keep making money, which I can't imagine that at least the next one wouldn't make money just based off of the strength of this one. But I'm almost a little nervous that they've set the bar so damn high with this thing that the next ones might even be a bit of a disappointment. We'll have to see.
Yeah, I don't know what he says. He's got he's got 3 more stories already planned out, And if he had that much kind of detail and focus in Fury Road, you know, bring it on. And what bothers me too is if we could have had this film 10 years ago, or we could have been having these types of movies all these years, and just no one was willing to take the chance. It just makes me sad. It is fantastic.
Well, I guess there's one silver lining though. If they had made it, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, we'd probably still have Mel Gibson in the role, which I don't know. I do appreciate the kind of unhinged meanness that Tom Hardy brings to the role, as opposed to kind of like the enigmatic kind of charismatic guy that Mel Gibson played Max as. That's
fair. I think that's a fair point. I don't know. So I want to talk about one thing too I want to mention that I think is a great score. Lots of hard drums. If you're a fan of scores like I am, you're definitely gonna want to pick this one up. And then finally, I love this little bit of I don't know, not an Easter egg, but this little bit, this fan theory about Max Rockatansky, that Tom Hardy is not actually Mel Gibson Max. He's not the real Max. He's a new Max.
Okay.
And that the rumor is that he's the feral kid from the Road Warrior.
Okay.
That has grown up, and now because he ended up. If you remember, now I wouldn't begrudge if you don't remember, because I did just watch the movie, but he says in a voiceover, the kid, that because he's telling the whole story in Road Warrior, he's the one relaying it to us. And that he never saw Max again, but he grew up to become the leader of all those people. And then with Fury Road, something went bad, right? All those people are saying, "Why didn't you save us?" They're kind of haunting him as Tom Hardy's Max tries to figure out what he's going to do. So the theory is that he's the kid. The problem why that doesn't really work is there's the voiceover in the beginning relies on the original Mad Max story.
Mm-hmm.
Of Fury Road, how he used to be a cop.
Yep.
But the key scene for me is that later on in the film, one of the breeders, is playing with the music box that Mel Gibson Max gives to the feral kid in Road Warrior, and you never see it again. The kid keeps it.
Right.
So I'm not sure if she just happened to have a music box.
Right.
I think that's, and I think what it is too. I don't even think Miller's making a definitive statement. I think he's just kind of playing with everybody with that.
Mm-hmm.
When they asked like what the time frame of this is, he says he's thinking, I don't know. He's like maybe roughly 5 to 10 years after Thunderdome.
Right.
I don't know. So, and that's fine with me. You know what? And I don't need a definitive statement. I think it's fun to think maybe that it's that he found Max after he was dead and took the car and took the uniform and then kind of went on his own little adventure too because he idolized him so much.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's an interesting possibility. I don't know.
Yeah, this is pretty cool. I never thought of that.
So that was a fun theory. Anyway, so what are your thoughts for the kids at home? Should they go see this?
Yeah, unequivocally, yes. We've been gushing about it now for about 10 minutes. So, yes, definitely go out and run out and check this while you can.
Yeah, really. Check it out in the theaters. If you get to see it in the IMAX 3D, it's one of the few times I'm going to tell you, do it. It's worth the money to see it in the large screen with the 3D. Strong characterization. It's got a great female plot line with strong females running throughout the entire film, which I really appreciated as well. And it's just an incredibly successful film. So yeah, if you've had a chance to see Mad Max Fury Road, please shoot us an email, feedback at the first run. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Matt, Blu-ray and DVD. First up, a couple things that came out last week, which we didn't get to. Seventh Son. That's that Jeff Bridges movie with Julianne Moore, where he's the seventh son of the seventh son, and he has to save the kingdom. Tanked at the box office. Nobody saw it. After that, another one, The Loft, one of those kind of little short and quick little thrillers about a bunch of guys who have a penthouse where they have a mistress, and then they find her dead there. They got to figure out who did it. A documentary I'm really excited to see, My Life, directed by Nicholas Winding Refn, is it's shot by his wife while he's touring and dealing with Only God Forgives, which was considered a big failure on his part, which I still think is a fantastic film. But it's kind of him dealing with that and second-guessing himself and his talent. It's actually on Netflix right now, but you can also pick it up on Blu-ray and DVD. I used the air quotes, well, we're on video, so you can see air quotes, Cannibal Ferox, the classic horror film, is being released as well on Blu-ray, as well as Madman, one of the 80s thrillers, slasher films, based on the Cropsey, what do you call it, urban legend. Mm-hmm. If you haven't seen Madman, it's not bad. If you like 80s horror films, you could do a lot worse than Madman. So it's coming up this upcoming Tuesday, June 2nd. I don't know what's going on. I think the only review I've read about this, which says if you loved the politics of Star Wars: The Phantom Menace, you couldn't get enough of it, then the Wachowskis' Jupiter Ascending is the film for you.
Okay.
So that's getting released on Blu-ray. I don't know if they're going to come back at this point. This is like I don't know, Matt, are the Wachowskis done at this point? Do you think they still have another great film in them? I'll tell you, I like Cloud Atlas.
Yeah, I never saw it. I know you enjoyed it. I think the Wachowskis, I think they'll be good if they don't. I think they need to take a break of doing their own stories. Now, I know Cloud Atlas was an adaptation of a book, but I think really they need to just be the directors of some other script that somebody else has come up with. I think they have a good visual style, but I think their kind of storytelling has fallen apart.
Well, maybe they get back to the old stuff like Bound. Well, that was great. And The Matrix. You think they're just too full of grandiosity? They have too many, delusions of grandeur with their work. Maybe they just got to trim it back and do like a smaller film.
Maybe they do, but I mean, I know a lot of people, or if you read the interwebs, I mean, some of their flops now are considered cult classics, like Speed Racer. A lot of people, I'm surprised at how much love Speed Racer gets.
I've never seen it.
Yeah, I mean, I never really liked the source material. I did check it out. It's definitely got its own thing, and it looks really cool, but it's kind of a strange film.
Interesting. So there's a 3D version as well as a regular Blu-ray version. It does have the Dolby Atmos audio, so if you're prepared for that, you can get that and some bunch of behind-the-scenes features. Focus, the Will Smith Khan movie with Margot Robbie, who I believe we're supposed to all be in love with at this point. Though she is Harley Quinn, right, in the Suicide Squad.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll talk about that later because you may have some news for us involving that. I don't know. Includes a Blu-ray, DVD, Ultraviolet, some deleted scenes, and an alternate opening for Focus if you wanted to check that out. The Kevin Costner Disney film McFarland USA is being released as well with some deleted and extended scenes. For the kids, you got the SpongeBob movie, Sponge Out of Water, is being released. Includes a Blu-ray, DVD, digital copy, and Ultraviolet streaming pass, and a bunch of featurettes if you're a fan of SpongeBob, so you can spend some time with that. The sequel to the film Monsters, which is a fun little horror film that's on Netflix, you can see, and the guy who directed it actually graduated up and did the most recent Godzilla film that I loved, though that Dave did not like. Matt, did you ever see Godzilla, the new version?
Oh, yeah, I liked it a lot.
So, well, the sequel to that, Monsters Dark Continent, has been released on DVD, and from what I hear, it's not that good. And then from HBO, for the first time on Blu-ray, the complete series. I just finished watching the first season. Finally, The Wire is being released on Blu-ray as well.
Nice.
They're also giving us Justified Season 6, the final season, is being released. There are some deleted scenes exclusive to the Blu-ray. I love Justified. I thought it was a great series finale as well. I love that show, and I'm so sad that we're not going to get another season next year.
Yeah, that show never really got enough love, in my opinion. That was a great show.
And then Warner Archives has given us Wolfen.
Oh, wow.
I like Wolfen. I haven't seen it in a long time. I think I liked it better than The Howling when I first saw it, but I think it's a really great werewolf movie. So if you haven't seen Wolfen, you can pick that up on Blu-ray. Your straight to DVD pick of the week, Matt, is going to be Planet USA. Planet Earth, USA, 2015. The natural oil resources are running out. The hatred between the East and the West has spread like a plague all over the world, and the planet is on the brink of World War III. It has billed the biggest action movie of all time.
Wow.
With a little asterisk, in Austria. So it's the biggest action movie of all time in Austria. I just thought that was cute, and there was no other picks for us, so I went with that one.
Nice.
Now, I normally would tell you now what our streaming pick of the week is, but we're going to save it for the end of the show because that's what we're going to watch next week. I'm also going to do Tomorrowland, but which I have seen. We're going to hope so we can get Dave some time to catch up and check out Tomorrowland. But we're definitely going to do our streaming pick of the week, I should say, which will be at the end of the show. So you'll see what's coming up next week. Matt, do you have any news for us, sir?
Not a whole lot. Chris, do you remember a little film called The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Sean Connery bailed on Lord of the Rings because he didn't get it, right? And he didn't want it. Then they said, well, we got another franchise for you. And the superhero films were so big, so he said, oh, I better do this. And he jumped at the chance to do The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Yep, and it's the rumor is it got him to quit acting. And what's funny, just as a side note here, didn't he do Zardoz because he was offered the role of Han Solo and he didn't get that film either? And then when it blew up, he said, "Well, I got to jump at this."
Is that true? I didn't know. I didn't know he was up for Han Solo.
I think he was. Yeah, I think I read that somewhere. Yeah. So I guess that just goes to show you he should never take a role. He should never take the second role he doesn't get.
He wouldn't have been. Yeah, he wouldn't have been too old for that. How old was he back then? 70. How old is he back then? Was that 77, 78?
Yeah. I mean, he probably would have been, what, in his early 50s?
Probably.
I guess.
I never knew that.
A different kind of Han, I guess.
Right.
So anyway.
Han. It's Han.
Han. Different kind of Han. So.
You Northeasterners.
I know. Right. So they're actually going to do a third time's a charm for this movie. They're going to try and reboot it and put it back out there again and see if they can make it work.
Does Alan Moore want anything to do with this one?
No. Well, I don't know. They have no script. They have no director. They just have a producer attached at this point that's kind of pushing it through. So
you know what they have? They see Avengers making $1 billion and they have a superhero comic book property.
Right.
So that's what it is. So great. We'll watch that and it'll be horrible too.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, you know what? I was never a big fan of the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen comic book. I mean, it's kind of a neat idea, but the characters never really, I didn't give a crap about any of the characters really. So not a big deal. And then also, let's see, speaking of George Miller, did you know that back in 2007, he was tapped to direct the Justice League movie?
Yeah, no, I just had discovered this myself this week. Yes.
All right. Well, the story of that movie, of how it came to be, and how it fell apart, is going to be. They're going to make a documentary on it that should come out in the next couple of years. So probably something along the lines of how do I pronounce this? Jodorowsky's Dune, something along those lines.
Yeah. Jodorowsky's Dune for the show.
Yeah.
I'd be interested in seeing that. I still want to see the Death of Superman Lives. It was the Tim Burton Nicolas Cage one, right? There's supposed to be a documentary about how that film fell apart, and they poured and Cage had a pay or play deal, right? So he got paid even though it fell apart. So they lost 40, 50, $60 million on a film that never got made.
I know, and that's a good thing. Seeing some of those pictures.
Yes. You know, it always makes me sad when I think about Superman 2. You can Google this. When you read what Bryan Singer had planned for the Superman Returns sequel.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'll have to check it out.
I would love to have seen that film.
You know what? Superman Returns, that still stands as one of my great all-time. The trailer was so awesome, and I was so pumped for it. And man, I was like, "What the hell is this?" And you know what? It's not that bad. I own it. I do enjoy it. You know, some of the scenes are really good. It's just, it's not quite there.
I agree. It's a flawed film, and you're right. I think we did that as a top 5 one day, and I think that was my number 1 as well. With the trailer letdowns, where the film was a letdown from the trailer. And yeah, I remember seeing that trailer. Oh, the opening swells of the John Williams music of that trailer. I bet you too. I bet you did a little experiment. If you watch that trailer today, you'd probably get all excited again.
Yeah, I have watched it. I did watch it probably 2 months ago, and I was like, man, this is still really good with the Marlon Brando voiceover. I mean, it was awesome. It's a good trailer.
Yeah. Oh well.
All right, that's all I really got. Nothing major going on right now.
So did you see that they some people caught some cell phone footage of Batman in the Suicide Squad film?
I did see that, yes. So
I thought that was interesting. So he's definitely going to... I like the idea that they're going to... Listen, if DC can pull this off, and Warner Brothers, of kind of cross-pollinating all of the stuff like Marvel does, and having it be looser control, where the directors can do what they want, so they don't have to stick to a very specific formula all the time, like Marvel is restricted by. You know what? I don't know. I feel better and better about this all the time, though. I'm still not a fan of Jared Leto's Joker, at least what it looks like.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'll
freak Joker.
I mean, people lost their minds when Heath Ledger was named, so I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I mean, and I'll even say that, when I was watching the previews in the theater, and they showed the preview for Dawn of Justice, you know what? I was like, you know what? Maybe this will be pretty cool. We'll see. I gotta Batfleck got me excited. What can I say?
I have no problem with Ben Affleck as Batman. My whole problem with this whole thing is David Goyer and
Zack Snyder.
Zack Snyder.
Yeah.
I really those are my concerns.
I mean, that's the danger of giving a director more control. You have to make sure you have the right director.
That is the ultimate one. I don't know why we can't get Christopher Nolan just kind of run the whole thing.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh well, whatever. Okay. So let's move on then to, I guess, what our 5 favorite chase scenes.
I'm pretty excited about this. I think I got a good list here.
My problem is there's a bunch of films that I haven't seen that I'm sure deserve to be on this list. One of them I own, and I haven't watched it. I still have to do that series, The Great Unwatched, because I have like 10, 15, 20 films that I own that I've never actually seen.
Yeah, I could probably do the same thing with you. It'd be kind of interesting to see the different films we haven't seen, because I'm sure you've seen probably 80% of them.
One of mine is Vanishing Point.
Oh.
I've had it for 6 months. I bought it at a Fox Connect sale. It was like $5 on Blu-ray, and so I thought, I've always wanted to see this. It's just as much expensive to rent it on an off time, so why not buy it? And it's still sitting in the wrapper.
We should be ashamed of ourselves.
I don't know what the hell my problem is. You know what I need? I need to stop watching James Bond movies over and over again. Is what I need to stop doing. Seriously? I actually started watching Moonraker again last night.
What is wrong with Moonraker? God.
Well, what I wanted to do is I'm trying to think of something to do for Spectre.
Oh, okay.
And I'm trying to figure out if I watch all the Bond films, but everybody reviews the Bond films. I'm trying to think of different and new to do it. And I haven't seen Moonraker is one of the ones I haven't watched in a very long time because I've always hated it. And so I thought I'd try and watch that one. Maybe it would inspire me to do something. I got about a half hour in and I got really tired and fell asleep.
Well, at least you still own it. I mean, that's dedication right there.
I bought them. Yeah, I got it for like $5 at a sale too. There's some. I still haven't upgraded A View to a Kill. Nor have I upgraded. What's the one? The absolute worst one that I think. Oh, Man on the Golden Gun.
There you go.
I haven't upgraded those. Those are the rest of them though. I do have on Blu-ray. Anyway, stop derailing me with James Bond talk.
Sorry,
but let's get right into James Bond talk. I'm just going to tell you my number 5 favorite chase scene. I'm going African Rundown, Casino Royale. How the film opens, Daniel Craig running down the bomb guy. But what pushed it over the top for me is the drywall scene. So he's chasing the parkour guy all through this new construction, right? And the parkour bomb guy, he does a little jumps off one wall, jumps off a wall, whatever, pulls up, grabs a pipe, and then goes through a very small hole on the top of a hole, on top of a wall. And what does Daniel Craig, James Bond, do? What does he do to solidify that he is a blunt instrument? As they say over and over again, he just runs through the wall. Hell with it. I'm going through it. And that's what really does it for me. There's that. And then, of course, when on the top of the cranes and they're having to fight while they're holding on to the cranes, and the guy throws the gun at him, and Craig catches it and throws him and hits him in the. There's so much. Casino Royale is a flawed film. All right, it's long. It's too long, and it should have ended 20 minutes earlier. They had that extra tacked on ending that I don't know, but that African Rundown scene is one of my favorites. It's great, so that's why it's my number 5.
Fantastic. All right, so my number 5 is my only entry. Well, yeah, my only entry in the crime genre here. Kind of vacillated. There's quite a few chase scenes in that, but I think I went with the one from Heat, where they're escaping from their bank job and they're kind of running away from the cops, kind of doing that kind of running, shooting as they go, just kind of lighting up an entire street. It was a pretty badass scene.
That's a good one. I haven't seen Heat in a long time. But it's got one of my favorite Al Pacino lines that I like to do the impression of. You know which one it is?
What's that?
She got a great ass! I don't know. That always stuck with me. I don't know why. All right, my number 4. I'm going to continue on with I'm going 2 for 2 with my James Bonds. I'm going the ski chase in On Her Majesty's Secret Service.
All right.
Lazenby's one performance as James Bond. Criminally underrated. If Sean Connery was in this film, it would be the best Bond film of all time. And it's a great film, but it's got great action set pieces, great action scenes from start to finish. So the scene when he's racing down the mountain while they're shooting after him, and he ends up in the and then he's in a car and they're in the skating rink and they're driving. I'm telling you, lots of great chase scenes. But my favorite is the one where he's on the skis and they're shooting at him and all the great cool stuff that happens. So that's my number 4.
Never seen that one.
That's the last Bond one too, by the way.
Okay. Well, I've never seen actually that particular one.
You haven't seen Honor Majesty's Secret Service?
No.
I'm telling you, it gets so unfairly maligned by people because it's
Yep.
Lazenby. It's after Connery. People, oh yeah, that guy, he was horrible. He was not. It's a great Bond film.
Well, you know, I mean, in my personal opinion, Roger Moore has very little to sell him positively. So how bad can it really be?
Fair enough.
All right, so my number 2 pick. There's a lot of chase scenes in this movie that you could have picked, but I went with the scene where Indy is chasing down the Ark through chasing after what's his name, Belloc, fighting his way through the truck in Raiders of the Lost Ark. That whole part where he's hanging onto the front of the truck, and then he flips the German guy out and rams him and he falls off the side of the cliff and runs over him. That whole scene is just fantastic. But there's many chase scenes that you could put in from that movie. There's some great ones.
Yeah, that's a good pick. And too, there's more too in the other films, like the rail car in Temple of Doom.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Mining car.
Yeah,
and then the boat chase in.
Oh yeah, that one was pretty awesome.
Crusade. And
see, I would have gone with
course,
Tank in Last Crusade.
That's true. That's a good one too. And then also, don't forget Kingdom of the Crystal Skull when they're in the Jeeps and Shia LaBeouf is swinging from the vines. I mean, is there a more pure piece of cinematic treasure than
Yeah, well,
Shia LaBeouf?
you know what? Is it too late to change my number 5?
In the Enchanted Refrigerator?
Yes.
Okay. My number 3 is I'm going. You know what I'm doing? I'm going with one of the greatest car chases in a mall you will ever see.
Nice. I know exactly what it's going to be.
And that's the Blues Brothers. Blues Brothers has a lot of great car chase scenes in this film. It's got a bunch, but my favorite one is the one through the mall. I don't know what it is. Just it is so fun and hilarious, and the film is a classic. If you haven't seen the Blues Brothers, I'm telling you, watch it tonight. But yeah, it's one of my favorite car chases because it's just so ridiculous. So
Yes, it is.
It's my number 3.
Excellent. My number 3, we're gonna stick with Lucas and go to the land of sci-fi. It is going to be the
wait, pod race.
No, not pod race, but good guess. You know how much I love the Phantom Menace. It's actually the chase through the asteroids where they're chasing the Millennium Falcon through the asteroids. Great, great action as far as, dynamic, granted unrealistic, there's nothing to bank into in space, but man, who gives a crap? Smashing TIE fighters in there, getting eaten by a giant worm. It's pretty fantastic.
That is pretty good, yes. Yeah, no Star Wars for me.
No?
No, nor any Star Trek. There are really chase scenes in Star Trek, though?
Not that I can think of in Star Trek off the top. Well, I guess there's the end of the new one where they're chasing after Khan and running across that thing.
That's true. Yeah. I was thinking original, but yeah, that's good. Yeah. That works. All right, my number 2, I'm going with, and this, talking about another film rife with chases and car chases as well. Ronin, one of the better action films from the 90s, right? Yeah. Robert De Niro follows in with a bunch of people who are going to maybe steal something. There's a lot going on in this film, but the chase for me is the BMW versus the Peugeot. If you haven't seen this, it's one of the greatest car chases. I think I think this is better than Bullet. I think it's the greatest car chase in the history of cinema. It is. They drive so fast, and I'm sorry, there's no way to fake this. All right, the way, and if you watch this, you can YouTube even this one clip. But they drive so fast through the streets of Europe. I can't remember what city they're in, but it's really tiny streets, and they're zipping all along. They're going the wrong way down highways into tunnels. De Niro is doing the old e-brake turn trick thing. I mean, it is one of the most exciting, edge of your seat, grab your balls and hold on car chases you'll ever seen in Ronin. If you've Ronin, for some reason, it's got a bit of a cult following, but a lot of people just don't know about Ronin. I don't know what it is, why they don't. It is one of the greatest action films of the 90s. If you haven't seen Ronin, I'm telling you, buy it today.
It's pretty good. Oh, buy it, not even just check it out.
Yeah, no, it's the gift that keeps on giving. And you got De Niro playing a badass in an action movie. What more do you need?
Well, there you go. What more do you need? All right, now I'm getting a little nervous here with my number 2 because you have not said this, so I'm a little afraid I'm going to be stealing your thunder here. So if I do, I apologize. Yeah. So my number 2, and I think you're going to be mad at me, maybe that's not number 1, but my number 2 is the prisoner transfer from The Dark Knight. where they're running underneath the streets and the tunnels. Joker shows up with his bazooka and blows them up, with Batman coming out with the Batcycle and the Batmobile. Man, that is a fantastic scene. It didn't make your list?
Nope. No.
What is wrong with you?
I don't follow that for me as a chase scene. I don't know what it is. When I think of chase scene, it doesn't. It's more of an ambush than a chase scene. But I don't know. It just didn't really occur to me to make the list. So no.
Okay. Well, there you go.
2.
Well, you're wrong, but there you go.
My number 1. I don't normally do this, and usually we have a rule against this because it's so fresh in your mind. But I'm doing it. Oh. I'm going Fury Road for number 1.
Okay. All right.
I can't not do it. I saw the movie twice. I told you at the beginning of the show, there are things in this movie you've never seen before. There's this one scene where Tom Hardy's hanging upside down on the war truck, hanging onto the door. He's about to get either squashed or run over. Who knows what's going to happen to him? Something bad. And you got these guys on these pogo sticks flying back and forth. I'm telling you, you've never seen this stuff before.
Yep.
And I couldn't not give it my number 1. I couldn't do it. I had to do it. George Miller, I owe you an apology, so much so that I'm making you number 1, Mad Max Fury Road.
That's a really good pick. See, I obeyed the rule, and I kept Fury Road off the list. So, but I can't disagree with that. And I do like how you just said, you'll notice that we mentioned the actual chase scene that we liked from all these movies. This one, we just said the movie, because basically the whole damn thing is a chase scene.
Exactly.
Yes. But that is a fantastic pull. I cannot disagree with you.
There you go.
All right, so mine is probably not the best.
Clearly, if it's not Fury Road, it's not the best.
Well, it's very true. And it didn't make your list. I don't even know if it'll make your honorable mentions. But when I watch this movie, or I watch this scene at the very end of the film, it really gets me pumped that I want to go out and get myself a 70s muscle car and just soup the shit out of it and go driving recklessly. And what I'm talking about is the last scene. That's a kind of an homage to Vanishing Point, is the last chase in Death Proof. You got the black Challenger versus the black Charger versus the white Challenger. All kinds of Zoe's doing the stunts on the hood of the car. That entire and I get pretty pumped that I want to go out and buy myself a Charger after that.
I need you to reset.
Damn it.
We lost you at that. He's basically said between the Challenger and the Charger, and then you were gone.
Okay. So between the Challenger and the Charger, really just a fantastic scene. I love the way Quentin Tarantino shoots it. I love the stunts that they do, the practical stunts where, she's hanging on the hood of the car. They're doing all this kind of crazy stuff that you just don't see anymore. And it really just makes me want to go out and buy myself a muscle car, preferably a black Charger, because that is some cool shit. Yeah,
Death Proof, when I was first putting my list together, Death Proof was on it. When I was going back and forth between that and Bullet, but I also wanted to be a bit of a jackhole and have some foot chases in there as well.
There you go.
And I think what really nails it for me for Death Proof, and I agree with you, that last scene is one of my it's one of my favorite car chase scenes. But I think what nails it is Kurt Russell.
Yeah.
If without Kurt Russell's performance, especially at the end, I don't know. I think it'd still be a great car chase scene, but it wouldn't have the cherry on top that it does without Kurt Russell's ultimate fate in that film. But that's a good pick. Did you have any honorable mentions?
Yeah, most of mine made yours. Blues Brothers. We talked about The Last Crusade with the tank scene. Bullet, Casino Royale. The French Connection, obviously it has to be the honorable mention because that's kind of like the gold standard in car chase scenes. Fury Road and the Road Warrior. I thought the last car chase in the Road Warrior still holds up pretty well, and that's a lot of fun to watch. The Terminator 2 scene when they're driving through the Los Angeles River is pretty awesome. And the town where they're escaping through the streets of Boston in the cars from the bank.
I forgot about that one. Yeah, I wasn't a fan of the town at the time. Maybe I have to revisit it. But yeah, those are all good. I would also add Tell No One, which is a great little French thriller. There's a big, not car chase, but it's a foot chase where the cops are closing on this guy because they think that he killed his wife. If you haven't seen Tell No One, based on the Harlan Coben novel, it is one of my favorite thrillers. It's great. And then you know what I got on here too? I got It Follows.
Oh yeah. That's good. I guess that's also an entire chase movie. Very esoteric pull.
Thank you.
Yes. Oh, and I do have to mention, just because I was watching Hot Fuzz the other day, Point Break, that last scene where where at the end of it, Keanu yells up in the air and shoots his gun in the air. That's the one.
Did you see they're remaking it? The trailer's out now for the Point Break remake.
I did not know that. I'll have to go check that out.
And I've never actually seen the original Point Break.
No, I've seen bits and pieces, but it's pretty ridiculous.
I'll have to check that out too. I was watching Next of Kin on HBO Now the other day. Good Lord, that's a bad film. When in the Swayze Ovra, and Liam Neeson's in it too, playing his hick brother.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this great horrible scene where Neeson's brother's in jail, and there's this song, this kind of country western rock song about brothers playing, and it's just so on the nose. It's really bad. It's really really bad. So. Did we miss any? I'm sure we did. Shoot us an email, feedback@thefirstrun. What's your favorite film, Chase? Let us know. A couple things coming up I want to promote here for the show. I'll be hosting the late showing at Real Artways. What state am I in? Mm-hmm. The late showing at Arts Quest here in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, in the Lehigh Valley. It's June 6th, 10 p.m. It's the 30th anniversary of Goonies.
Wow.
And I'll be doing an introduction, and we're having some games. We'll have a truffle shuffle contest with prizes. I'll be providing a copy of the film on Blu-ray, and we'll be giving out some film passes as well, and you can come down and meet me. And also on June 17th, I'll be doing the introduction to From Russia with Love. Actually, you know what? I can't do that. I'm just going to participate because the guy who runs the program there, that's his favorite Bond film as well as it's mine, so he absolutely would not let me do it, which I totally appreciate. I do get that, but I will be there. I'll be signing autographs, so you can see me there. That'll be the last time, sadly, that I will be here at Arts Quest, because I will be leaving. I'm taking my talents to South Beach, Tampa. I'm hoping to get involved in the scene down there. There's a lot of great theaters down there that I've already been to, so I'm hoping to get involved with them down there. But Goonies, June 6th, 10 o'clock at night. I think the showing's actually 10:15, but you can come down and see me. It's coming great. It's great too, Matt. Not next week, in 2 weeks, there's a drive-in movie theater here in Pennsylvania in the Lehigh Valley. Well, a little farther out. But they're showing Friday and Saturday night, starting at dusk, Evil Dead, and then Zombie, the Lucio Fulci film. So nice. Friday night, Evil Dead and Zombie. Saturday night, Evil Dead and Pieces.
Okay.
Now, if you haven't seen Pieces, that's another great little Italian slasher horror film. It's actually really, really good. And I'm coming back into Pennsylvania from Connecticut that night Friday, so I'm really trying to figure out a way I can tell the missus, listen, I know I haven't seen you all week, but I got to go straight to the drive-in movie. And I don't think.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. So check us out. Do a search for us. You can check us out the stream of the show on YouTube. Then you can download the actual fully comprehensive, condensed, where everything's actually in the show, the clips and everything. Get that on iTunes. Do a search for The First Run. Check out the website, Twitter, Facebook, all the like. Next week, our streaming pick of the week, Matt. You ready?
Yeah.
Zombievers.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to go with something else, but I forgot about how excited you were for this.
I am. Rec 4 is on there too. And I love the first two Rec films. The third one I thought was all right. The fourth one's supposed to be better. I don't know. But
they also put that Honeymoon movie out there that I wanted to check out.
Which one's that one?
It's got Rose Leslie from Game of Thrones, where she's one half of a newlywed and she disappears in the forest and then comes back. Not quite right.
Ooh, I'll have to look into that one too. All right, but right now, things always change. I'll definitely tell you what's going on with Tomorrowland. We'll talk about Zombievers, and who knows what other exciting stuff. Things are going to get a little shakier even more with the schedule coming up as I'm moving to Tampa. I'm hoping too, Matt, to do for us all to get together the week I'm in Connecticut. I'm working on the details of that right now. I'll keep you all informed on that. And that's it. So that's a big show. Shoot us an email, feedback at The First Run. Thanks, everybody, for listening. I'm going to take an extended break, and we'll see you next week. I don't have any classic hip-hop lyrics for you this week. I totally forgot. So I'll take care of that next week. I'm sorry. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching.
See you.